Today, 5 signs that twin flame union is near. And we're going to talk about a lot of things today, guys. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kurt. I am the world's #1 twin flame coach. I've personally coached over 7,000 twin flame students to date. I am in a permanent monogamous relationship with my twin flame. She has even made several appearances on my YouTube channel. Go check out my True Twin Flame Teachings playlist. There's an interview that we did together in there. You can also go to the live section of my YouTube channel. There are several live streams. We're together, guys, and I've helped thousands of people to be with their twin. You can go check out my Twin Flame Success Stories playlist if you would like to see those as well. And before we get into the video, so I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Apologies. I know you want to get to the good stuff. We'll get to that in just a second, guys, but you're in the right place. I just wanted to caution everybody about the new YouTube AI feature, the little ask button. It has a bias. If you ask it for a summary, it'll put its own little spin on the video. Sometimes there's a lot of creators and users pushing back against this tool. It's not very good, and YouTube needs to provide a way for us to shut it off, and I'm going to keep complaining about it until they do that. I made a video about this. If you'd like to go watch it, there's a link down below for you to go check that video out. You're better off just watching the video, guys, than to rely on the AI generated summary. All right, let's get into the video. Sign number 1. I'm going to list off the signs, by the way, and then I will describe them in great detail, and I'm going to give you all kinds of advice and explanations, science-based explanations. So if you're new here, again, welcome. Stick around. This is going to be a great video for you to watch. Number 1, you haven't given your twin flame a thought in a long time, which I know sounds like impossible, but you can do it. You can do it. I'll tell you how. Number 2, you actually have no preference as to whether or not you are with them or not, or even if you ever hear from them again. That's when they're going to be around. That's when they're going to want to be with you. I know that sounds weird, but this isn't soulmates, guys. And I'll give you a resource for that as well here in just a second. Number 3, something I call the weird energy shit, also becoming psychic. So kind of woo-woo stuff, but it's real. And that's the only kind of woo-woo stuff that I really get into. Most of the woo-woo stuff isn't even woo-woo. You know, the internet hype about twin flames. But yes, there is Kundalini and like having psychic visions. I know that sounds fucking weird, but it's a thing. It's real, guys. It's real. Okay. It'll just be like, so just to be clear, this number 3, the woo-woo stuff, the weird energy shit, the becoming psychic, it's going to be like a part of your daily life. At least the psychic stuff. Okay. Okay. Number 4, Satori. You could also call it Samadhi, which are more of these like peak spiritual experiences. Number 5, inner peace, which is where you end up. Like once you get through all the activations, like the woo-woo stuff, the Kundalini and the Satori Samadhi and all this, wow, oh my God, woo, I'm spiritual now, wow, right? That stuff starts to mellow out and taper off, and then you're just left like feeling super peaceful. And the mind is going to say that that's boring, okay, the mind. But you're not the mind. You're the soul. You do not think those things are boring. You don't think inner peace is boring. And that's the whole point. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But you will, like, you're going to be in this place where the mind would describe it as being like neutral, maybe boring. But boring is an emotion. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not boring. It's just stillness. It's just peace. And you're just like, yeah. And then your twin flame shows up and you're like, yeah. Hey, good to see you. Yep. And they're going to be like this, please be with me. Oh God, I want you. Really, I'm not kidding. That's really how this works, guys. Spirituality, real spirituality, okay, is not a belief system. And unfortunately, all of the internet hype about spirituality and twin flames has turned into another belief system. This is spiritual, guys. Real spiritualism, consciousness. Okay? Your twin flame is your soul. Everybody says it. That is true. So instead of doing mind stuff, you need to do soul stuff, guys. And most of the internet hype about twin flames and spiritualism is mind stuff, guys. And that's why people struggle with this. And most of the people that you're watching online who claim to be giving you advice about your twin flame, they're not with their twin flame. Do you ever notice that? Or you've got the so-called twin flame couple and you're looking at them like, are they really twin flames? Because they seem more like soulmates to me, right? And I've made videos about that too. I'll go ahead and link one of those videos down below for you about twin flame couples. It's got an orange thumbnail. I just made it a couple of weeks ago. I've done a lot of videos about the twin flame couples. They're not twin flames, and you can tell. It's more of the internet hype. It's people that want to hop on the twin flame fad. They want to be one of the cool kids and go, hey, everybody, look, we're twin flames. I'm cool now. I'm spiritual now, right? So it has become an identity to them, okay? And that's ego mind. That's the ego mind. It's an identity. It's a script. It's a narrative of self. I've got all these things that I do that make me spiritual. That's not spiritual, guys. Spiritual is out here, okay? Now, this book, in case you have never heard of this book, this is Eckhart Tolle, the modern day Buddha. He's going to teach you genuine spiritualism. Your twin flame is your spirit. They are your soul. You got to do soul stuff, not mind stuff. You don't want to make an identity out of, I'm a twin flame, look at me. You don't want to do that. The name of the first chapter of this book is actually called You Are Not Your Mind. How about that? So, when you are doing as the soul and not the mind, guess what? Sign number one, you haven't given your twin flame a thought in a long time. You don't really think about them. And I know that sounds hard. I'll give you some tools here to kind of get out of, because I know like you're having this obsessive thinking and there's this heightened sense of like you're in this emergency state all the time. I was there, guys. I get it. Like it's called Dark Night of the Soul for a reason. Another name for it is ego death, right? There's this intense sense of meaninglessness. It's the most desperate situation you've ever been in your life. You're checking their social media like 1,000,000 times a day. Like literally like 50 to 100 times a day. You're checking their social media, your twin flame, and you just can't stop thinking about them. There's this weird obsessive thinking. You know this is not normal. And now there's people out there that truly, they have maybe some kind of a mental disorder where they really do like fixate and obsess over somebody. And it's really a psychological condition. So this is why anymore when I make one of my twin flame videos, I make sure to emphasize that there's also like becoming psychic and Kundalini and heart chakra opening and this kind of woo-woo metaphysical stuff is going to have to happen at some point. Some of that stuff, maybe not all of it, because that'll differentiate between the people who are just either somebody that has this maybe psychological condition where they just obsess over somebody, or one of the people that just want to be one of the hip and cool, you know, the twin flame fad people. They haven't really met their twin flame, like all the so-called twin flame couples, where they both of them, the man and the woman, or it could be two women or whatever, right? It could be a same-sex couple, but they both go, hi, I'm divine feminine. Hi, I'm divine masculine. We are twin flames. They're soulmates. And it's easy to tell that they're soulmates. Again, go watch my twin flame couples video down below. And I'm not here to be negative or to bash anybody, you guys, but the fact is, this is real, twin flames. In fact, I've got a better name for it. I call it SI, simultaneous incarnations. And this is going to be kind of the topic of my speaking tour. I'm doing a speaking tour this year, 2025. I'm going to go around the United States, I'll probably go to Europe at least once, maybe twice also, and deliver a lecture on the twin flame fad and how, yeah, there really is this thing called twin flames, and it's really real, and there's even a rational explanation for it. But then there's all the fad people that just want to be one of the cool kids and hop on the twin flame fad bandwagon and just front and be like, look, I'm a twin flame, look at me. It's an identity to them. It's become a new form of religion that they call spiritualism, but it's not really spiritualism. They're just playing around with the words. They're just playing semantics. And again, you can tell the difference between those people, the twin flame fadders, the people that just have some psychological condition. And so there's those two, the twin flame fadders, and then the people that are just obsessed, right? You can tell the difference between those two and somebody who really met their twin flame because of all the Kundalini and becoming psychic and this repeating number patterns. You see 1111 everywhere. This greater spiritual awakening has to be in place. Now, number two is you have no preference. And I'm going to come back to that one in a second because I'm already talking about the other woo-woo stuff. So let's just get right into that one. So Kundalini, you feel this at some point, like energy, like pulling you up into the sky, like anti-gravity, pulling at you. And you might not have experienced this yet, some of you watching. So later in the video, when I give you some suggestions, that'll kind of get the ball rolling, and then maybe you will start to have those experiences. Okay, if you haven't already. So just kind of, tuck this video away, hang on to it, and then maybe later when those things start happening, you can come back to this video. But Kundalini is one of the things that could be happening, should be happening in some form at some point. You feel like anti-gravity, like you're being pulled up into the sky, or you're being pulled around. Like I'll feel like it was like a big rubber band, like a huge rubber band was attached to my whole body, and it was like pulling me around and like jerking me around uncontrollably. And I made a video about this. I'll link it down below for you. It's called Twin Flame Kundalini. You can go check that out. You might feel also like energy pushing onto your twin flame, like moving from you to them. A lot of twin flames report that. There is a real explanation for that. You and your twin flame are polarized at the mental level. This is why they run, by the way. There's a real reason for this. Your twin flame runs. So you've heard of the first law of thermodynamics, which is energy cannot be created or destroyed. That's the first law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics is having to do with entropy and the displacement of energy. So your twin flame runs for that reason. It's a mechanics reason. It's not some psychological reason. You probably on the internet have heard the term twin flame push-pull, right? The twin flame push-pull. You heard about that? That's what this is, guys. Okay? And a lot of people, they're going to try to overanalyze that and make it into this big psychological thing. That's not what it is, guys. It's the laws of the universe. Your twin flame is your past life. Your twin flame is one of your past lives. That's why they run. I'm serious. Again, there's a rational, scientific explanation for this stuff. Go check out my Twin Flame Science playlist. I'll link it down below for you. Twin Flame Science. Watch the first 2 videos. Watch the first 2 videos. So you're going to feel these weird sensations. You might also experience something called heart chakra opening, or it's also been referred to as heart activation. You feel intense love, and it feels good. It doesn't hurt, but it's so intense that you might ask yourself, can my body handle this? Like, am I going to pass out? Because it's a lot. Like, I have felt love before, but it was a lot, you guys. Also, when considering some of the things I'm talking about right now, do not add stuff to this list. Don't do that. When I'm talking to somebody, like in one of my coaching programs, right? I can tell they haven't met their twin flame. I don't get a lot of them, but every once in a while, I get somebody in there and I'm like, dude, this person, Because I'll go, hey, did you have Kundalini? And they go, yeah. And I'll go, all right, describe it to me. And they go, well, my neck hurt one time. No, that's not Kundalini, dude. Stop adding stuff. Kundalini has been known about for thousands of years. Stop adding stuff. Your neck hurting is not Kundalini, dude. Okay. I also had another person who one time she had sex with her twin flame and she had an orgasm and she thinks that's Kundalini. That is not Kundalini. That's an orgasm, bro. God. Again, it's this twin flame fad mentality. Everybody wants to be one of the cool kids. And what's so ridiculous about it is when you really meet your twin flame, it really isn't that cool, is it? It fucking hurts. God. At the beginning anyway. I mean, you might not realize it now, but it's really the best thing that's ever happened to you. Just you wait. So also, you might get like tingling in your third eye. And I mean, if you think about where my two fingers meet in the middle, right? Like right where your pineal gland is, inside your skull, right? You get like intense tingling. And then you start hearing voices. And you know you're not a crazy person. You haven't been diagnosed with any like schizophrenia or any shit like that. Okay, it's called telepathy, okay? And this happens to everybody. Everybody, 100% intuition, which is another form of psychic ability where you have this knowing. And some of you have already experienced that. Like, you just know that this person is your twin flame. And the mind is going, well, how do you know that? Like you have this doubt. So there's doubt, right? Which is totally normal. There's doubt, but then there's the weird knowing that you can't explain. Like, how do I know this? It's like deja vu. I actually use deja vu as a way to explain this. Because deja vu, you have this knowing that you've done something before. Like, I've been here before. How do I know that? Right. Who's asking? It's the mind, guys. Remember the name of the first chapter of Eckhart Tolle's book. This is real spiritualism. Genuine spiritualism, the Zen traditions, Buddha, Jesus, Hare Krishna, Krishnamurti, Adishante, Paramahansa Yogananda, Ram Dass, Alan Watts, Charlotte Jocko Beck, Michael Singer, Eckhart Tolle, Rupert Spira, right? Anna Brown. Real spiritualism, okay? You are not your mind. You are consciousness. That's all spiritualism is. The soul is consciousness, mostly. From our point of view, it's all consciousness. Let's just put it that way. Okay, the mind is thinking about the knowing, though, is my point. The knowing is the soul, guys. You know things. It's a form of psychic ability. And it happens a lot now, doesn't it? And if it doesn't, again, I'll give you some advice in the later parts of this video about how to do this journey properly. And once you take my advice and start following those steps, you might actually start having some of these experiences if you have not already, okay? So that's the kind of woo-woo, the weird energy, Kundalini, tingling in your third eye. Again, don't be adding stuff. Don't be adding stuff. Oh, I got a pain in my arm. My hands are tingly. No, that's not it. So also heart chakra opening. That's another one. Okay. Satori. Let's talk about Satori. Satori is this experience where your mind like turns off. Remember the core of spiritualism, you are not your mind. Body, mind, soul. The mind is like covering up who you really are. You have this sense of self, like if somebody walked up to you on the street and they said, "Who are you?" You would tell them a story. You would give them a breakdown. You would give them a history, right? You would explain with concepts and thoughts who I am. I've got this job. I've done these things. I'm a mom. I'm a brother, right? I'm a stepchild. I've traveled here. I went to college. I didn't go to college. I'm a liberal. I'm a conservative. I'm whatever, right? Right, here's my hobbies, right? All this information, concepts that constitutes an identity. Like, I am a twin flame, look at me, everybody, right? Like the fad people. So that's the ego mind, but that's not really who you are. You are not your mind. So what does that leave? Consciousness, which is an experience, and that's all. It's just existing. People have become so desensitized to simply existing that they don't even notice it anymore. There's all this thought covering up who you are. Have you ever asked yourself, why am I thinking about this? There's all this thinking going on, and you go, why am I thinking about this? Or you feel an emotion, and you go, why am I feeling this way? You ever asked yourself that? Right. Who's asking? How is it that there is awareness of thinking and emotion? What is the awareness? That's the soul. That's your twin flame. So Satori is what happens when the mind you're going about your day one day, and then all of a sudden it's like the mind completely ceases and like melts away and shuts off for a little while. And you're left with this intense experience of like peace and zen. That's the best I can explain it. And you know that this is beyond mind. This is spiritual or something. Okay? It's just being. It's just existing. There's no thinking. There's no doing. I just am. And that's all. Okay, that's Satori. Another thing that we could talk about is something called samadhi, which is like, I think you could say, like a macrocosmic spiritual experience. And I'll just give you a movie to go watch. If you guys really want to know what I'm talking about, when I'm talking about having like a greater spiritual awakening, go check that movie out. It's more of a documentary film. And it's absolutely free. It's on YouTube. It's only like an hour long. Samadhi, S-A-M-A-D-H-I. There's 3 parts, and I guess they're coming out with a part 4 pretty soon. But don't skip around. Don't, start with part 2 or 3. Start with part 1, watch part 1 first, or else the rest won't make sense to you. So it's Samadhi, part 1, The Illusion of Maya, or something like that, right? So go check that out, and then read this book. There's another book by Michael Singer called Untethered Soul, which it's the exact same as this, same teaching, it's just a different teacher who you might appreciate. Now, that'll make the other 2 signs make more sense. So not having a preference about whether or not they come back, and then inner peace. Which inner peace, that's where you're going to end up after you have all of these crazy woo-woo experiences that we just talked about. The repeating number patterns, this sense that your life is about to change in ways that you can't explain, the weird energy shit, Kundalini, heart chakra opening, heart activation, becoming psychic, all that fucking stuff starts to taper off. So this is all the weird woo-woo shit happening, right? Okay, and then after a while, it's tapers off. Now, the one thing that does remain is the psychic experiences. You're still going to have a lot of that, and they come in spurts. Like, I'll get a whole bunch of them for a month at a time, and then nothing for like 6 months. And then I'll get a whole bunch for a week, and then nothing for 2 months. And then, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. And then, like, even during, like, if there's a 6-month period where I don't really get any, I'll still get one every once in a while along the way, like a really faint one. Or I'll get, like, lots of deja vu. And there's ways, I know there's things that I can do to get more of them to happen, but I don't worry about it. I'm more interested in the inner peace, which is sign number 5. That's what I like, right? And that's why my twin flame stays. That's why we're together, because I'm not looking externally for some big spiritual thing, right? And the big spiritual thing, it does happen. We just talked about all that. But what I'm telling you is they fade away after a while. And so enlightenment is not an exotic experience. Your awakening, yeah, that happens. But then after a while, it kind of tapers off. And then you're just left feeling peace and stillness. And again, the mind is going to say that that's boring, but it's not. Boring is an emotion. It's just isness. It's like neutral or something. And you don't really have any preference about whether or not your twin flame ever comes back. And you haven't even thought about them for a long time. And that's why they're with you. You could care less. If they ran off to go be with somebody else, you'd be like, huh, okay. you wouldn't mind. You have no preference. That's exactly why they stay. Guys, this isn't soulmates. Okay? And the reason that it works the way that I'm telling you is because that is as the soul. Not having a preference, not really being focused externally on them or any kind of big spiritual experience, right? Once that stuff mellows out, you're just being, you're just existing, and that's it. And you're just satisfied just doing that, right? And guess what? That's how the soul rolls, guys. That is the soul. The soul is just being and existing. It's not, wow, yeah, oh, this big thing is happening. That's an emotion. That's the mind, guys. The mind wants this big thing, right? And again, as you're going through the initial awakening process, big things do happen. There's all this crazy metaphysical stuff happening and all the numbers and you've like just, I know my life is going to change. Wow, right? But then after a while, it tapers off. And then you're left just feeling like zen, just peaceful. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. But you'll never really be the same either, because you'll always be fully aware of what the ego mind is up to and how it wants to cling to the outside world. Okay? Your twin flame is in here, guys. You are your twin flame. The question is, who are you? Do you believe that you are this person, this ego mind, this personality? Rupert Spira calls it the separate self. Separate? Like separation? Right. That's another thing, is twin flames are using those words the wrong way. Separation, union, detaching. Those are not relationship statuses with your twin flame, you guys. And I even made a video about that. I'll link it down below for you. It's called Twin Flames, Separation Consciousness, Unity Consciousness, and Detaching. Go check that out. So here's what you got to do. So here's my advice. I told you I'd tell you, give you some things that you could do. Real simple, guys. There's 3 things that you got to do. You got to let go of the twin flame hype on the internet, number 1. Number 2, you got to stop chasing your twin flame. Number 3, you have to embrace genuine spiritualism, which is not focusing on myself and living my best life. That's not what that is. Those things are fine to do, but they would be a byproduct of your ascension. So let's talk about these 3 things real quick. Number 1, let go of the twin flame hype. Just go watch my twin flame myths video. I have linked down below for you the twin flame science playlist, right? It's on that playlist. You got to let go of the stupid twin flame myths on the internet. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for calling them stupid, guys. They're keeping you addicted to this person. If you look at the twin flame messaging on the internet, it's this fucking weird woo-woo new agey thing or something. Guys, it's not like this. It's just peace. It's just existing. You're just there and you're just like, meh. And your twin flame is there and you're both meh, yeah. It's fine. It's not bad. It's just peace. It's just isness, right? So let go of the stupid twin flame myths. All they're doing is holding you back, guys. You really got to let that crap go. It's crap. It really is crap. It's bad for you. And I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for saying it. You got to let that stuff go. It's toxic. Okay, number 2, stop chasing your twin flame. Stop stalking them on social media. Guys, go watch my masterclass. There's a masterclass down below. That's one of the biggest myths, by the way. The stupid twin flame couples who are really soulmates. Go watch my free masterclass. It's down below. Sign up for my paid coaching, right? You got to do something here, right? You got to let that stuff go and let go of your twin flame too. Stop chasing them. Okay? You need to make this your goal, which is number 3. You replace all of the toxic twin flame mythology and all of the chasing your twin flame. You replace all that gobbledygook with being, with building stillness into your life. Again, go watch the Samadhi movie and read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. There's also Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and learn to meditate. You got to let go of any outcome. And again, it's not take my focus off of them and focus on me. If it's I focus on me, that's a subject-object relationship. That's psychology. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being, which is where you experience yourself as consciousness. It's I am. And you are just being. There's no, like the mind is what's looking outside for some kind of a goal or something like that. This is where you recognize yourself as not that. You are the observer of that. And that's all. Right? So there you go, guys. There's a bunch of free stuff for you. Sign up for my paid coaching. It's very affordable. Do something, guys. Thank you so much for watching.